My name is Josephine.
And my name is Ferret. Welcome to Paris and Beyond Tours. Today we're at Monet's garden in Giverny, the house where he's finished his life and spent more than 43 years in total in.
Yeah, so we're going to take you on a walk of the garden where the Japanese bridge and water lilies are the symbols of some of the works of Monet. So let's switch the camera around. Is Monet from here, Giverny?
No, Monet is not from Giverny actually. He just bought the house when he was for 43 years before his death, and he spent the last years of his life inside this place, and he became really one of the head gardener of this place. He's a gardener painter, and he wanted to actually work on the place that would inspire him further. So he was really inspired by Japanese art, what we call ukiyo-e, that he first encountered with wrapping papers when he traveled to Netherlands, and he wanted to recreate, even though he never been to Japan, this Japanese ambience. Right now we are in the Japanese part of the gardens. There are two parts to his garden. This Japanese part where there is the pond, and there is all the water lilies, where he was inspired to paint more than 250 paintings on that subject.
Is Monet from Paris?
He was born in Paris. He was born in Notre-Dame de Lorette, which is a church which is at the bottom of Montmartre, where he is going to come back when he is 19 years old. So because he was born in Paris, left directly to Le Havre in Normandy.
Where he spent his childhood.
Yes.
And he was actually a really wild child, wasn't he? He often skipped classes and would spend his time playing in the sand dunes or climbing the cliff tops. And when he did go to classes, he would often drift off and paint caricatures on the margins of his notebooks. But his caricatures was very good, so good that they were sold in the
local supply shop, yes, where you had like so many painters, famous painters of the early 1830s, who would come to buy their supplies before they would go to the beach. Maybe we can pause a little bit. I see just Lynn and Morgan just coming in, right? We can switch cameras for 2 seconds.
Hi.
How are you doing? Yes, everything's fine.
It's a great day. It's not too hot.
Hello,
and not
Chicago.
too sunny. So.
Hello, New Jersey.
So, among those painters who visited the supply shop was a
One
certain
was my favorite,
Eugene
actually.
Boudin,
Eugene Boudin, yes.
who was a pioneer in painting seascapes on plein air.
Yes, he was actually, people often credit Claude Monet to be the first outdoor painter, since actually he was born a year before the painting tubes were invented. So he was born the right year, but so other painters a bit older than him would have the chance to be able to paint outdoors before him. And one of these pioneers was Eugene Boudin, and he's going to take him on a beach with him. And Eugene is going to be the mentor of Monet. And Monet will never forget him. Even though Eugene never took off as a painter in his career, he would still be exhibited in 1874 for the very first Impressionist exhibition, right?
Yes. But this is when Monet developed a passion in painting outdoors. He left Le Havre in Normandy to come to Paris at 19 years old, enrolled as a student in the Académie Suisse, where he tried to learn painting. But he quickly got fed up with the traditional academic style of painting, and he also befriended other artists such as Renoir.
Yes, I mean he got the witty guys, right? All the best team. You have got Pissarro, Renoir, Frédéric Bazille, and so they are going to just skip school together. You know, it was a private school. They quit. They don't pay it anymore, and they're going to go and train themselves inside the Louvre. And
they actually together experimented new techniques as well. So these techniques included using broken colors. So previously artists would spend meticulous hours mixing their pigments in their studio on their palette and carefully applying applying them onto their canvases. But these Impressionist artists, they would use broken colors, they would apply them onto the canvas and mix afterwards. Apart from that, they also used revolutionary type of brushstrokes. They were fast, thick, and very obvious.
Yes,
and they were much criticized for that. So,
you were not supposed to see a brushstroke before.
Yeah, but these would become the fundamentals of Impressionism.
And maybe we can have a look at this, right? So, because, what's really important to understand right now, we're going to face the pound where all these water lilies are. And he tried 250 times to render not what he was seeing, but not only what he was seeing, but the perception of the entire ambience, the thickness of the air, the texture of what was between him and his subject. So this is really what he tries to paint, and the texture that you have on the painting is actually trying to render what he sees.
So these would be the fundamentals of the Impressionism. Actually, tell us a little bit about why this artistic movement is named Impressionism.
So in 1874, there is a photographer called Nadar is helping these young artists to organize their very first exhibition. They are in Paris and they have been refused to the official Academy of the Louvre, so they have to organize their own exhibition. He presents several paintings, everybody presents paintings, and they actually title some of these paintings. There is one painting in particular called Impression Soleil Levant, so Impression Sunrise. And at the beginning, the movement was not... They don't have a movement yet, and a critic of art is going to write in a satirical journal that, yes, it was an impression, the impression that this painting was less finished than the first draft of a wallpaper. So it was kind of an insult at the very beginning, and the goal, and they took this as a witty thing. They said, well, yes, it leaves people on impressions on people, and we're going to use that name. The goal is to be impressionated.
So in the end, it was an insult taken up as a honor.
As the name of an honor,
of the group, of the movement. So, in other words, Monet was not interested in carefully devising the canvas and the colors and being stuck indoors in the studio. He wanted to capture the ambience and atmosphere, and this is why he often take train rides, and he also got obsessed in capturing the changing colors of the day, the light of the day, and by painting series such as the haystacks, such as the Huan Cathedral, and eventually leading to the idea of having the outdoors coming to his front door, hence the idea of the gardens of Giverny. He was actually residing in a town near Giverny called Vernon. One day, on his commute by train to Vernon, he developed...
We pause here, because you see there is a... Come back. There is a bit of a division, just behind.
Yeah.
Over here, up in that, just behind these walls, actually, there is a street. They hide it really well with the trees. In the past, you used to have the railway that would pass into it. The railway is gone, now there is a road. But this is on that railway that he discovered a house and he decided to buy it. And he ended up to organize his garden around here. There's a fun story about this water, actually, and the fact that he organized this fake lake in the middle of his property, because he had to take the river that passes nearby and derive it to feed this little pound, this little fake lake. And the city...
He got into quite big troubles with the locals and the local city hall. Luckily, Clemenceau, his good friend, who was also a journalist and politician and later became the president of France, came to the rescue, and so got him out of trouble. So he was, by that time, towards the end of his life, he was well established and wealthy. And so he employed 6 gardeners, and he would also have his family, including his wife, his children,
everybody
helping him. But he tended to the gardens on a daily basis. He weeded and watered the gardens every day. Yes.
He was the painter gardener.
He was an avid gardener. Yes.
Let's go. Also,
so
Also, I mean, he was
How
quite
did
moody.
he-
He was doing gardening every day. That was one of his passion as well. But besides gardening and painting, he was saying that everything else in his life was a failure. Eventually, he was also a moody person. He was capturing the light all day long. He was sometime when the light was not good, when you wake up and it's like a gray. Don't you
Rainy
also
day.
want to stay home sometime? It's like it's a bad day and you feel it. Let's just stay inside a bed. Well, Monet was taking this seriously. The light is not good. Let's just not get up. And he was like sulking the entire day inside his bed. You would have.
But normally he's a really
Disciplined.
worker, painter. He would be getting up as early as 4 a.m. He would have his lunch at 11, so he would have enough daylight after lunch to work in the gardens. He would also sleep by 9 p.m. So that he would wake up early enough the next day. He was also a chain smoker.
Yes.
Wasn't he?
He was not smoking as much as John Wayne, but he still died because of a lung cancer, actually. And he's not the biggest smoker, but all the few movies that we have from him, you have a really nice movie about him made. I think it was made by
Black and white.
Yes.
I think he was an American journalist,
and he was
right?
smoking. He was smoking on that movie, so you can see him always a little cigarette at the mouth like this, with his big
Panama
bushy beard.
hat.
Yes.
Yes.
I'm dying to get a Panama hat as well, actually. So, well, he finished his life in this place, made sure that everything was prompt to push him to work the environment so that he could play on the colors. And this is towards the end of his life.
He did not actually accept any dinner invitations nor host any dinners because it would distract him from working. He was a perfectionist for sure. We
So
know
much
that
perfectionist, actually, he destroyed some paintings, isn't it?
Yeah, between 1908 and 09, he destroyed 30 of his water lily paintings. In fact, the remaining, about the paintings that he destroyed is worth
more than $2.6 million. Yes,
today.
15 paintings, and that would have cost, he took a knife and just destroyed all the paintings that were that he didn't like because they were not worth for the public. So he was...
When he died at 70, I want to say 4 years old, this was then...
But there was
inherited
something also
to
really
his
important,
children.
because what's his heritage afterwards? Because he developed a cataract towards the end of his life. He had, and he almost got blind. He had to go for surgery, but even after the surgery, the eyesight was not really good, and he lost the color sight quite badly, and which is quite ironical from life, to make this great painter looking for colors, looking for light, become almost blind. And he had to write the names of the colors on the tubes that he was using towards the end of his life to be able to use them. So it became quite more and more abstract, and this is what's going to lead the 20th century to have these more and more abstractions. You have you can say there is books like this, like the last painting of Monet and the abstract painters in America, and you have a lot of influence between the last years of Monet and the beginning of abstract paintings in the 20th century. A really strong influence over this.
So, let's sum this up. So, what happened to the property after the death of Monet?
So his daughter-in-law,
His
yes,
daughter-in-law Blanche,
stepdaughter, yes,
and his son Michel actually inherited this place, but they died without any heir. So in the 1960s, this was then the property of the Academy of Beaux-Arts.
and it was restored with the help of Americans, actually,
donors in
who
the
started the
1970s.
Fondation Claude Monet.
Exactly. So the current association which maintains the property is called the Fondation de Louis Vuitton, Claude Monet. And today, Claude Monet. This garden has reopened since Monday, and every hour they allow 300 visitors.
No, 30 people per
only,
hour.
Only 30 people?
Yes, 30 people
only
per hour.
30 people, sorry, per hour. So I hope
You have to be careful
enjoyed.
and like book your tickets in advance, especially for the weekends. It's really hard to get the tickets when you come here. It's reopen. It's going to be open like this for the end of the season until November. And you should look as well as the what's called the calendar of the flowers actually, and like
Yeah.
yes.
So, well, hope you have enjoyed this time with us today, and we'll see you soon. See you soon on some of our other lives. Stay tuned
So,
on
goodbye,
Paris
Lynn.
and
Goodbye,
beyond
everybody.
tours. Bye.